So today we're going to talk about using social analytics effectively to prove social ROI. So just a quick intro. My name is Sean White. I'm Director of Product here at MoonToast. You can see my credentials here to reach out to me if you have any additional questions after this webinar. Just feel free to drop me a line. Be happy to discuss any of the content that you see here. So before we get into really social analytics, I just want to take a couple of minutes to kind of talk about MoonToast and who we are. So you can see here some of the things that we're involved in. We won a PMD award with Facebook, and for those who are not familiar with what a PMD is, it's a preferred marketing developer. So we work very closely with Facebook to take advantage of new releases that they have. We get early access to some of their APIs, etc. So we spend a lot of time, doing work with those guys to help, bring our platform as well as, their platform to the next level and integrate our rich media units into Facebook. So, some of the things that we believe in and some of the things that we do is with our rich media units, we really believe strongly in a mobile-first methodology. So all of our units are adaptive or responsive in nature, depending on the term you want to use. So all of our rich media units interact on the desktop, on a mobile device, such as an iPhone, an Android phone, on a tablet, both from a portrait and a landscape perspective. So we really focus in on, telling the story of the rich media, building those units out, and then being able to do analytics against them. So we believe that social ads need to be branded, interactive experiences that deliver rich engagement for the top brands and agencies to drive social ROI, which is really pertinent to what we're going to talk about today in terms of being able to measure ROI and how to plan to measure for your ROI as it relates to social. And we feel we're really in line with some of the macroeconomics that are going on with social media. You can see that there's explosive growth from social, mobile, and a video experience. And as you can see just from this graph here, we really see over the next 4 years, a significant growth in these areas. Interactive advertising such as social media really supports the entire path to purchase to help maximize your return on investment. And the value cost to marketers is actually very advantageous in digital as well as social as it continues to grow compared to TV when you look at it from a scale perspective. So, when you take a look at social rich media ads, they target audiences all the way through the consumer journey. If you take a look at, kind of how social media works, you have different things like being aware of your brand or gathering awareness to your brand via posts through your brand page or through your news feed, gathering, acquiring information from your customers, right? So, giving them something so that you're acquiring, additional lead information that you can then take not only through Facebook and the other social networks, but through other, digital marketing opportunities where you can market to those customers. Preference. Shopping. So, if you take a look at, preference, people giving you, their preferences that they want as it relates to your brand, giving you feedback as it relates to your brand. Being able to shop through social networks is becoming important. More and more customers are, especially as mobile proliferates, people have that device right in their hand at all times, and, they don't need to go home and sit in front of a PC, or they don't need to walk into a brick and mortar store. They can actually transact right there with your brand through a news feed or through other social media touch points. We also want to provide an experience as marketers, right? So it might not all be about the purchase or the transaction, but it's about the experience when dealing with your brand to drive loyalty, making it fun and exciting and engaging where through social you're getting that kind of viral word of mouth, so to speak, by people endorsing your brand as well, right? So people get excited about it, they're endorsing it, they're sharing it with their friends are sharing it with their friends, et cetera, and on throughout. So with MoonToast, quickly, what we offer is we have the ability to create these rich media units very quickly within our application, post them to a variety of different social networks, and then quickly look in real time how those units are performing in a variety of different ways. And we'll get into the social analytics part now, how Twitter does it, how Facebook does it, and some of the metrics that we deem to be important here at MoonToast. So the big thing with social analytics is it does address a key market problem. And the problem right now is, folks are starting to spend money as it relates to social marketing. So social campaigns are being run, but there isn't really a super easy way for them to measure their ROI effectively. So oftentimes they feel that they're spending blindly and they're not really understanding, kind of what the lift is and what the benefit is for their spend. So in addition, they want advertising and social media platforms, but they need data to help determine what they should be doing where and when. Again, this data is critical to go back to that ROI and why am I spending this money? Where am I investing it in? Who's looking at it? What are my fans interested in? What do I need to provide them for them to endorse my brand? What do I need to provide them to endorse my product? Folks have have budget for their advertising, but they need help to optimize their spend. So social analytics and the paradigms that have come out from this has really helped to answer a lot of these questions. But before we do that, and before folks start to think about, well, what social analytics should I use, there's a couple of things that need to be thought of. So similar to any marketing strategy that you do, whether it's a brick and mortar or an e-commerce type or an email campaign or anything like that, it's critical that you have executive sponsorship and buy-in at the top to utilize social analytics. So analytics needs to be a part of really kind of your DNA in terms of what you're trying to understand and make it important so that you understand if I want to get the appropriate ROI, I need to have the appropriate investment into the tools that I can get analytics for. The other thing that I think oftentimes kind of goes by the wayside is that folks don't come up with the business questions they want to answer through social. So what is it that I'm trying to accomplish? So think about, are you trying to engage additional fans? Are you trying to have people endorse you? Are you trying to give more product information or more brand information? Really try to think about what the business problem is that you're trying to solve. Focus your social analytics strategy on answering that question. So once you understand, hey, I want to get more likes, and because I believe that the more likes that I have, the more folks, the more eyeballs are seeing information about my brand, etc. So with that, I'm going to track, the number of likes that are being done. If I wanted to do things like transactions, so for example, I wanted to track the number of registrants I have. So let's say I'm doing a campaign where I'm giving away a trip to Aspen or something like that. And in order to do that, I need to have people register for a sweepstakes. And I want to track, the number of folks that are registering. Make sure that you understand that, okay, that's my goal. I want to get as many people to register for this so that I can market to them in future ways. You want to make sure that you're saying, okay, my analytics for that is I want to, track number of registrants. Once you've done that, once you've developed your goals, figure out what your social analytics, then what are your key performance indicators against that? What does success look like? What does good look like? What does great look like? And it's really important to be able to answer those questions. So the question becomes, well, how do I define my KPIs? And I kind of alluded to this a few minutes ago about try to understand what your consumers are doing with your brand. You have probably a variety of different other analytics that you're using, both offline and online, that can help you understand kind of what your consumers are doing with your brand. Are they trying to learn more information about you, right? And this could be about just the brand in general. It could be about a product offering they could have. They might be concerned about how you're involved within the community. Anything like that. How is your brand being viewed by your consumers, and how are people interacting and trying to find more information about that? Are they endorsing your product? Do you have people that are not only looking for more information, but once they get that information, they're very happy about it and they're sharing it with their friends, and their friends are sharing it with their friends, etc. So that information is proliferating pretty fast when it's through social. So is that a goal? Do you want feedback on your product? Are you putting out some kind of informational piece where you're providing a window for your clients to go in and say, hey, we really like this, or we really don't like this, or this new product just happened and it's wonderful and everything is great, versus you may want to get some feedback on what people are saying in terms of negative, right? Are people not, is there something they don't like about your brand that they don't like? For example, if you're not involved in doing charitable events and you have quite a charitable community, folks may be giving you ideas about things that you could do. So it's important to not only monitor the good, but as well as the bad, right? Because you're going to get a lot of valuable insight on that. Or is it transacting? So do you want people to actually be purchasing through the news feed? Or is it a pathway for them to be transacting? Maybe there's some kind of call to action within your post that leads them to an e-commerce store, or it leads them to a coupon event where they can bring into the store to do that purchase. Or is it simply transacting in the sense that you're trying to get them to give you their contact information or the email information so that you can market to them in different ways? So you're providing them with something in order to get that back. Once you've done that, so once you've defined what your KPIs are and what your goals are, what you really want to spend time doing is figure out the tools you're going to use to track, right? Are you going to simply just post on Facebook and use Facebook Insights to view how well you're doing? Are you going to put it on Twitter and use the Twitter analytics to see how well the campaign is performing? Are you going to look to partner with somebody that provides these capabilities? Are you going to work with an ads agency to help you define a rich media experience and then put spend behind it through Facebook or Twitter or the various other social networks to help more eyeballs see that posting? What are you going to track, right? So you can't track everything. I mean, you can, but what's important to you? There's all different metrics that you're going to see, and I'm going to show you some of the highlights in a few minutes, but it really becomes important to understand what it is that you are going to track. And then how long are you going to track it for? How long is your campaign going to last? How long are people going to, how long do you expect to keep this alive for? How long do you expect to put money and spend behind it? Or are you going to just simply do an organic campaign? All things that you need to consider as you go out there. So with that, what I'd like to talk about is some of the analytics and the metrics that exist out there. One of the things that we found to be very, very successful at MoonToast for the variety of clients that we have, and we have some very big brands on here, one of the things that we find is what we call the Dight methodology, so discovery, interaction, transaction, and endorsement, and being able to track against that. And this should give you a really good idea of, okay, I'm starting to think about going into social. What is it that I want to accomplish? Going back to that question that I mentioned earlier, what are the business goals that I'm trying to do? So what I want to do very, very quickly is just kind of show you what this means, like discovery, interaction, transaction, and endorsement. So what you can see here, just as an example, is this is an iPad, and somebody is looking at a rich media unit on the iPad. So from a discovery standpoint, I'm on the news feed. I see something that says, win a trip to Aspen, enter now. I quickly click on it. So user clicks on it right within the news feed. That takes them off, in this example on the iPad, it takes them off to what you call an embed page where they can see the unit and they're interacting with it. So this will take them to the branded experience. It will have some kind of video. They can sign up, etc. So they've actually discovered you, right? So they've come onto their news feed. They're talking to Sally or they're talking to Mary, and they see a post from your brand, and they say, oh, this looks interesting. Let me go and check it. They have discovered it. When they interact with it, this is when they're deciding to participate in the contest, right? So this could be filling out the form. This could be, let's say you were giving away a coupon. This would be them filling out more information on the coupon. Perhaps you had additional call to actions here. Maybe you had different buttons for like see more information on this contest, or see more information on this picture, or click here for more info on our event. So they're actually interacting with your rich media unit. So you're getting, they're discovering it, they're now in there, now they're now interacting with it. So once they interact, they fill out the form, and what happens is when they click the submit now, they're actually transacting, right? So they're going in and they've now said, okay, I'm interacting with the unit, I've clicked on some different things, I've gotten more info, I've entered my information, I'm now clicking submit. So when they hit that, that information is being stored. You guys now have access to that information, and you can then market to them in an online or an offline fashion, depending on your needs there. So there's an actual transaction there. So it's a little bit different in the sense of, transactions, the typical way to think about it is a purchase. But if this was, say, a commerce application within it, the transaction would be the actual, going through the checkout process and purchasing the item. And then the endorsement comes when, after everything has taken place, where the transaction has happened, the user is, asked to share this, right? So sharing this on, on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Tumblr, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever the social network is that they want. Again, it's that we're endorsing your brand. We want to send this out to as many eyeballs as possible. We want all of our friends to see the exciting, the exciting unit that we just saw, or the exciting contest that we just participated in, or the gifts that we just got, or the information that we just learned. People want to talk. So it's, again, endorsing it, which gives you more opportunity for discovery, for interaction and transactions. And this is just showing you an example of them, sharing to the different social networks. So that's what we talk about from a MoonToast perspective, is really the Dight methodology. A lot of this aligns with the stuff that Facebook as well as Twitter does within their analytics. So if you take a look here, another place that you can go when you have a branded page on Facebook and you're doing any kind of marketing on that, both organically or paid, Facebook gives you a number of metrics that are important. So for example, they give you impressions. So what is that? This is the number of times a post from your page is displayed, whether it's actually clicked or not. So think of this as you go to the news feed and I'm scrolling down and I see a post from Totally Sick brand, and I see that, and that's considered an impression, regardless of whether or not I clicked it, or Mary clicked it, or Mike clicked it or not. It still was viewed. So reach measures the number of impressions of a page post, which includes demographic data such as gender and age, location, organic versus paid search, and page views versus unique visitors, right? So really just showing, the total reach of that, how many eyeballs potentially could have seen it. Really important metric as it relates to, okay, especially if I've spent any money through, Facebook where I'm trying to promote this, it becomes really important to see kind of that data and that metric. One of the big ones that Facebook counts is what they call virality, which is the number of people who have created a story from your post as a percentage of the number of people who have seen it. So when we say created a story, this could be liking it, commenting on it, sharing on it, etc., versus the number of people who have seen it, via the impressions area. So think of this as really their way of saying, hey, these are really the number of people that are engaging technically with your brand because they're liking it, they're sharing with it, they're commenting on it, etc. This is a really important metric that Facebook puts a lot of thought behind and talks quite a bit about. And then people talking about this measures the number of people talking against your post, so including things like liking it, commenting, responding to your event, etc. So Twitter does something similar. They have some similar metrics that they follow. They track mentions, so how many times your handle was mentioned within the Twitter sphere, so to speak, how many times that was mentioned. Number of follows and unfollows over a period of time, right? So, how many people have signed on and elected to follow you versus, how many have elected to not follow you. And this is, again, when I say you, I'm really focusing on your brand here. Recent activity, recent tweets allow the user to drill down to see the tweets with the most engagement. So they can see, how many tweets were retweeted, how many replies there were, what were the favorite tweets. Clicks, so if you have any kind of call to action within your tweet that potentially takes them off that tweet and takes them to a page for more information or anything like that, it calculates that. And then followers, kind of think of your growth in followers over time, the gender and location of your followers, the topics they're interested in, really important metrics in terms of, okay, well, who's really engaging in my brand? Am I seeing trends both in the positive and the negative? Am I seeing significant positive increases, negative increases, etc.? What is it that I need to do? Do I need to do some more promoting? Should I cut back on my spending, etc.? So both Twitter and Facebook will give you, some really good information as it relates to that. So the analytics platform that MoonToast provides, so I mentioned earlier on, so very similar to what Facebook and Twitter does, we have integrations into both of them. So we have our own Dight methodology, but we also use the Facebook Insights to show kind of like the holistic view of how your campaign is performing. So we're measuring real-time campaign data. We're doing benchmarking against the industry and across a single advertiser, so seeing how well your units are doing against other units that you have made historically past. We have Cumulative Intelligent Agent for social advertising. We have a significant ecosystem around us that is made up of ad partners, best-in-class platform integrations, etc. So we partner with people who are very strategic as it relates to whether it's the Facebook ads API or Twitter, folks who can take what MoonToast does in terms of our rich media units, and they can then work with Facebook to promote those units, work with Twitter to promote those units, etc. So we've built these strategic relationships with all of these partners. And whether you choose to use MoonToast or not, this is something that you want to further look at. Look at the folks that are in this space that are doing the ad promotions, doing the spend with Facebook, who have these strategic relationships with Facebook, so that you're getting in with the right folks, you're tracking the right data and making the right decisions as you spend your budget on your social investment. So we've got probably about 5 to 10 minutes left. I don't know if there's any questions. So it doesn't look like there's any questions. If you guys have any follow-up, here are my credentials here. I'm happy to answer any questions as it relates to social analytics or anything as it relates to the MoonToast product itself. Again, my name is Sean White, and I really appreciate you guys spending the last half hour with us.